Hello and welcome to Metro AV Tech Tips live and on the road. I'm Brent.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Miranda.
And that's Miranda.
And that is Miranda.
That's Miranda. So today's kind of another interesting episode. We, as everyone who is watching can tell, we are not in the office. We are not in our lab. We have our animals and pets with us here.
Wait. I have a plant.
You have your plant. You don't have a pet. You have your plant.
It's killing me. You guys are killing me.
Yeah. So we're here. I'm quarantined. It was why I am this way.
I'm
Brent,
traveling.
You're traveling, and we have special guest Miranda, who you just work from home, correct?
This is my home office.
There you go. So Brent, I have very little to do with today's episode.
Well, thank you for setting up the technical part of it, because obviously it's beyond.
Yeah, I make sure that we get live and everything's working. I'll put in some little questions here and there.
Then normally Adam tells about what we're doing today, but I'll take the cue on this one.
Yeah. So
today we're going to be.
Hold on, before you do that. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, of course, you can leave it over in the chat section over there. And so feel free to do that as well. If you have any questions and you're watching this after we've already gone live, you can, of course, leave it down in the comment section below. Brent and myself, we do monitor that. And if you have questions for Miranda, you feel free to leave your questions down in the comment section below, and we will make sure that those get over to Miranda if you were watching this after the fact.
And don't forget, don't forget your usual spiel.
Yep. Like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell notification to let you know whenever we do go live, which, of course, is every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we make every effort to go live at 3 p.m., which, as you can tell, we're doing it from wherever we are. So feel free to hit that bell notification so you know whenever that does happen. Leo, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming into the chat. So, Brent, without further ado, let us know what's going on.
And actually, I'm going to start with Miranda. Tell us who you are and where you work.
Well, I am. What's up, Leo? It's good to see you. I'm Miranda. I'm the National Sales Manager for Origin Acoustics.
Now, before we get too far into it, I'm sure most of you guys know Miranda used to work for us and was our National Sales Manager.
That's correct.
So I am very fortunate that I have a reasonably long-term and somewhat friendly relationship with Miranda, which anybody that knows me knows that's not always easy. But today we're going to be discussing patio audio and the reality of what you can do and maybe should not do outside. And since all of us have patio systems at our houses, I know that Adam's got music outside. I've got where I am music, although it predates Miranda at Origin, so it's another brand of speakers.
We won't talk about that.
Not as good, but readily available at Best Buy.
Now, Miranda, we ran into each other out at CES, and correct me if I'm wrong. Were you? Or sorry, CEDIA. Yeah, CEDIA, not CES. You were showing off a new product there, one of the new speaker setups that you have for outside.
We were. We it's funny. The outdoor audio category has been around for 10, 12 years, and it's vastly grown. Maybe longer than that, but in the last
I'm an old man.
15 years, the audio category has very much grown, and we have continued to develop new technologies in addition to different and unique ways to install it in your environment to make it less invasive for your neighbors, or maybe more inclusive for different areas within your landscape. So at CEDIA, we launched what we called our Bollards, and those particular Bollards utilized a ribbon tweeter. So a little bit new and different and unique technology to what we typically see in outdoor audio.
Nice.
Before you get too far into it, explain the advantage of a ribbon tweeter, because I'm a ribbon owner. So tell me why you use a ribbon tweeter outside and what it does for you.
Well, ribbon tweeters are very unique. It's not a new technology. If you think Martin Logan electrostat speakers, those have been around for quite a while. And, you walk into a showroom, there's these big, beautiful floor standing speakers, and there's tape on the floor where the speakers go, and there's tape on the floor where you're supposed to stand. And you stand in that area and they turn the speakers on, and it's some of the purest recreation of sound, beautiful recreation of sound. The traditional issues with ribbon tweeters is once you got outside of that very distinct listening area is the quality was not quite the same. So we took ribbon tweeters and we expanded that technology by including an X-wave surround, which actually gives you 180-degree dispersion vertically horizontally, and 80-degree dispersion vertically. So we were able to take that ribbon tweeter technology, weatherize it, give it a wider dispersion pattern, and put it into an outdoor setting. So you get that very crisp, clear sound in an outdoor environment.
And for those who are not familiar with the ribbon,
yeah,
a ribbon traditionally has a very wide pattern because it's a flat surface. The drawback has always been height. So when if you wanted height on a ribbon speaker, you had to have a tall ribbon speaker. For those of you who have been around a long time, for example, the older BGs, if you wanted to have 5 or 6 foot of height, you had to have a 6 foot tall speaker. A lot of what Origin has done is remove that height issue that ribbons had, which is just awesome because now there's this instead of this.
Correct.
Adam?
So one of the things with the ribbon tweeters that I've noticed before is that the ribbon tweeter itself is usually like a paper tweeter, and so of course doing it outside, you run into some interesting difficulties with the paper, right? Actually,
there'll be Mylar. So what you'll have is either Mylar or an aluminum surface. I'm sorry, Miranda.
But to Adam's point, the problem with that particular material is it has historically not been weatherized. And typically the reason that you see such a wide surface is not only the dispersion pattern, but also you had to have heat dispersion for that material. Otherwise, it would start to distort because it was so thin and was very susceptible to heat-related issues. What we did is we took that material and we changed it to a material called Kapton. Kapton is used by NASA engineers for parachute materials in space. It's some of the strongest man-made material. So not only does it withstand really high heat temperatures, but it withstands really low temperatures as well, and has it's very strong.
So these can be used in even extreme Northeast and Northwest and in South Florida without any issues.
Correct. I mean, they've been installed for over 10 years in Minnesota environments and all the way down in Las Vegas where the heat is very high.
So that also kind of brings up a funny note. We kind of picked the wrong time of year to talk about patio audio, right? I mean, now we're heading into the cold season in most of the United States. I mean, I know down here in Florida and out in California, it's a little different, but we kind of picked the wrong time to talk about this almost.
Well, I disagree with that because it's not just patio speakers, because a lot of these can be used commercially.
True.
So, you need to be able to hit all environments. That was intriguing. Whose house was that?
That was the neighbor driving their truck. We have the downsides of being outside. If I had some good speakers here, I wouldn't have to worry about that, right? Just round it out.
We'll get after the show, Adam. We'll get you covered.
Okay, good. All right, sounds good.
Boy, that was a suck up if I ever heard one. Yeah, by the way, my speakers aren't really good. Do I know anybody in the business?
Just ease it on in there.
Yeah, just a little bit. So,
with what do you have a sample of your new Ballard casing to give an idea what it looks like?
I do. There's several different options. The Bollards that Adam, that you saw at CEDIA, that's what's utilizing that ribbon tweeter technology. The great thing about that product, in addition to that tweeter technology, is the fact that all of your highs and lows are in a very evenly distributed area. You have a 6-inch driver, and on the base of that Bollard is a 10-inch woofer. So again, all of your highs and lows are evenly distributed throughout the install. We do have a product that we've been shipping for roughly 2.5 years now. That is a 4.5-inch driver with a 6.5-inch woofer. And, ultimately we set out to design these to be part of the landscaping. So sometimes when you think Bollards, you think these very large, invasive, tall products. But with our Bollards, they're very small. They come in silver, black, and bronze. You can get them in round and square. And you can vary this up into a couple inches below this fencing. So it can be as prevalent or as hidden as you would like in the landscape.
So that works out.
I'm going to ask
in different locations, like around my outside area here that I have the screening. I could put it in the flower bed that's out there, and it would still cover pretty much the entire area that I needed to cover, but it doesn't detract from the overall design and the look of the space.
Perfect example. I mean, if you take your pool area, you don't have a lot of landscaping around your pool area. So when you take our traditional satellite speakers that most people use in an outdoor landscaping environment, you want to try and hide those. You don't necessarily want to see those. With these, you can put them in a planter, or you can put them outside of your screen there, and it's meant to be seen as well as heard.
Right. Brent?
Now, I'm going to ask because I honestly don't know. Do you have lighting options built into these?
If I had $1 for every person that asked me that, I would no longer have to work. No, we don't currently. However, I will tell you that we are working on it, and it may be something that comes further on down the line. If we're going to jump into the lighting category, we're going to do it all. Uplighting, all of
the whole
options.
Got it.
So
one more question before we walk away from that. Is 70 volt an option on this?
Yes. So in both selection of bollards, whether it is the ambisonic version with the ribbon tweeter or the traditional Origin bollards, they are both selectable 8 ohm or 70 volt with multiple.
So it's selectable on the unit.
Correct.
Awesome. So you're not carrying multiple SKUs. That's great.
Correct. Yeah.
Adam, you have a guest behind you.
I do. This is Sadie. Come here. Come here. You want to say hi?
Again, you guys are really upsetting me because all I have is a plant.
Oh. Hi. You want to say hi? I got Sadie, and then I got Maggie over here. What you doing, Maggers? Come here.
Okay, so do you guys also carry the amplifiers for this?
We do. When we can get them in stock.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, we have the same issues that every manufacturer has, but we do actually design and engineer our own amplifiers to utilize with our outdoor products. The unique thing about Origin amplifiers is we actually design amplifiers that have 3 channels. So if you look at a traditional landscaping system, the cool thing about our main product, the DSP-3700, is it's 3 channels, 700 watts a channel, and each channel is selectable between 8 ohm and 70 volt. So if you're running a traditional landscape, product, you can run your left and right channel, your satellite 70 volt, and then you have a dedicated channel for your sub that you can run 8 ohm.
That's awesome. So you can the nice thing about 70 volts is the ability to put multiple drivers on it without having to worry about balancing.
Correct. And distance becomes an issue as well. So, that's very unique in being able to use it in multiple settings.
So, Miranda, talk to us about designing around the idea that you have neighbors. Is that something that aside from the products that you have and whatnot, of course you've been in the industry now for, honestly, I don't know how long you've been in the industry for, but that's in certain applications, that's really important. I know I've recently moved to this location where we've got the pool and everything, and I got to say I'm loving it. But I'm much closer to my neighbors than I was before. And so,
before you go any further, how far were you from your neighbors before?
At least 2 miles, I think was the distance to my neighbors. And now they're less than 100 feet away. So it's a drastic difference from before. Whereas before I could have an entire PA system outside and it wouldn't bother anybody. But now, of course, I'm much closer to my neighbors. What's kind of your design philosophy for, how to utilize that correctly?
You bring up an interesting point, Adam. Traditionally, when we really started with outdoor landscaping products, most of us had on-walls. We had the big on-wall speakers that were installed underneath the eaves of the house. Really big audio, right? You had them installed up high. It covered a lot of area. It sounded great, but in your particular scenario, if you have those installed on the back of your home and you have a nice little sitting area right outside the back porch, and then you've got the pool behind it, the people that are enjoying the pool may or may not be able to hear the music, but it's blasting out the people that are sitting on the patio.
Right.
So before, those were really our only options to have really nice outdoor audio are those on walls. Now we have a couple different options. We have traditional landscape products that are satellite speakers that are meant to be hidden within the landscape. And the idea of that is to be low and local, right? So you can cover a wider area, keep the music down low, play it at a lower volume, but still be able to enjoy it without upsetting or disturbing your neighbors or other listening areas within the landscape.
Right. So really your placement of the speakers is more around where you're sitting rather than coming from one central location and broadcasting out from there.
Well, now living in a condo environment, which I do, I am lucky enough to know somebody in the speaker industry who got me some OS6s, I believe, are the part numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, OS65s.
And what I did on those is instead of mounting them on the house, as she was just discussing, I went on the outside fence facing in. But I have a fairly small area condo. I put out 2 pairs, so it's a right, left, so I could keep my volume lower
and still get even
and
coverage.
still get an even fill, but not just an even fill, but still get a stereo fill, regardless of where you're sitting. As she mentioned in the early days, we all put them right under the eaves because it was an easy install. They were up high and they filled the area, and most people wanted to get away with just a pair, and you would have a large home with just a pair of speakers. And if you're in stereo, there was one spot that was worth the darn. Once you moved outside of the middle, it got bad in a hurry.
Right. Yeah.
So more is better.
And, you know, the nice thing, to Brent's point too, is having those satellite options or even mounting them on the perimeter allows you to point the speakers towards your listening area and away from your neighbors.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of makes it to where, again, you just by where you're putting the speakers, you're changing the design of it to where you're actually able to, you know, point it away rather than pointing it at, because of course you've got the dispersion pattern that you're dealing with, rather than, you know, the 360 design where it just kind of dumps out of the speaker. Now I
want to go on.
I was just going to say that the Bollards that you have, those are designed more in a 360 degree pattern. Is that correct?
They are and they're not. So we do have a 360 degree option, and we also have a 180 degree option. Okay. Most of the time I do recommend that 360 degree full sound option, but in a lot of cases, I mean, in your environment, especially if you have your neighbors right close to you, as many neighborhoods do, you can put the Bollards on a perimeter with a 180 degree dispersion option and point it towards the listening area. So the sound is all faced in one direction and away from disturbing your neighbors.
Right. So now we've got the experts on here as well. They're saying that we don't care about the neighbors. You know, there's a good point with this. The neighbors are not the one writing the check, right? You know,
I am lucky. My neighbor likes the same music I do, and she has no problem with the volume. But that's not always the case. My previous neighbors were grumpy old people.
That's
so,
right.
You know, like me. So you have to factor that in. Now, one of the things I don't have that I wish I did, and I think you do, is in-ground subwoofers.
That's another great point, Brent. Traditionally, with those on-wall speakers, they were a full sound, but you know, you tend to lose it over distance and height.
When you got a box that big, I mean, even with the 6.5-inch driver, it's still a half cubic foot box.
Correct. So, you know, with landscape audio, in addition to those satellites, you also have buried subwoofer options. We have an 8, a 10, a 12, and we also have a dual voice coil 12-inch. So for the customers that really want a rock concert in their backyard, we can give that to them with a landscape audio system. And we can put as many subwoofers as the amplifiers will handle, or as that they would like in their system, to really give it a more full and dynamic sound.
So you should have some subs out there, Adam.
Honestly, I think I do, and
because if you're going to upset your neighbors, you need to upset them with the 1812 overture.
Yes, exactly.
If you're going to do it right.
Exactly. Now, with the subwoofer, one of the things, and actually, I've got here. Let's see what this is. ESCTX says Origin Acoustics helps their dealers with landscape designs at no charge. Is that right?
We do. So we have in-house designers that will actually take your property, and if it's an existing existing address, we can pull it off of Google Maps, and we have software that will give us all of the dimensions of the property, and then we build that out. So when we give you the design, we actually give you a 2 to 3 page report that has the actual property on it, and it's in retail pricing. So the dealers can hand that to their customers and go, okay, Mr. Customer, this is why you need 12 speakers and 2 subwoofers, because this is the dispersion pattern that, you know, this particular audio system will give you. We have a 90+% close rate by utilizing that. And for Origin dealers, it's no cost to them. So it's a great sales tool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Boy, that's awesome.
Being able to show the client right then and there that, look, here's the, quote unquote professionals designing this system, and here is your house. Here's what it's going to kind of look like with it all laid out. Really kind of makes it kind of simple.
Let's face it, guys, one of the biggest issues that we have in our industry is awareness, right? We have all these cool things that we live and breathe every day. But if I were to tell my parents what I do for a living, they have no idea. So sometimes giving them a report that go, I can extend the square footage living area of the home that you've paid however much money for by giving you, 3,000 square feet of in-depth listening area. Even just by having ambient music, it changes how you utilize that type of environment. And now that, we've kind of progressed into having outdoor projectors, outdoor televisions, outdoor sound bars. I mean, the ability to make the outdoor space amazing has grown, but we have to educate the customers that that's actually available to them.
Right.
And I do remember, Adam, when you told me that you found this house, the very first thing you told me about this house was there's speakers outside.
There's speakers outside. It's an important thing nowadays. Look, I mean, the reality of today's world is that a lot of people are working from home now, either by choice or by restriction. And it's kind of coming down to, look, if I'm going to be here, I might as well enjoy it. We've got the environment for it, so take advantage.
I'm obviously we're on video right now, so I don't have it on. But if you could see what's around me, I'm on the east side with a north side building and a west side building, both with speakers aimed directly into this area, and a spa area off at a distance with another pair out there. So it's multi-zoned. But when I'm not working on video, music's on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of it.
It's like, why would you not? Now, it's generally not loud because all I want is just a little bit of that ambient background. And depending on the time of the day, it could be Frank, it could be jazz, it could be maybe some level 42 if I got to get moving.
So one of the questions that I had and I'm in no way a sound engineer or anybody who really and truthfully fully understands the audio side of our market. When it comes to the in-ground subwoofers, one of the things that I've picked up on just in my own listening habits and whatnot is, like you said before, the bass or the low frequencies, they don't really travel very well outside. It seems like they kind of dissipate really quickly. Other than putting in just a bunch of extra subwoofers, inside you can move a subwoofer into a corner and you can load the corner and whatnot, so to speak, to kind of generate a little bit more directional bass. How do you handle that in the outside, or can you?
So it's purely environmental, right? It depends on what this particular environment is that you're working on. And you can always corner load the sub that's going to give you a little bit more output out of that particular subwoofer. Adding subwoofers is always the option that we go to. But really, you want to manage the customer's expectations and find out what it is that they're looking for. If you really want dynamic low end in a particular listening area, we do have patio subs that have a very big output that is also an option. We have a dual voice coil 12 that's 54 pounds and, this big around. So you think that it's going to be a massive thing, but honestly, it looks like it's supposed to be part of the aesthetics of the surroundings. It's not that invasive. So, ultimately it boils down to figuring out what it is that your customer is ultimately looking for and making sure that you fulfill their needs without overloading them or underwhelming them.
Right. Very cool.
Underwhelming, I think, is a bigger issue than overwhelming because let's face it, the advantage of more drivers is better fill at lower volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why in this small backyard and in my even smaller backyard, I have here it's 4 pair. I've got 3 pair of speakers. At my house, I have 2 pair of speakers, so that I've got an even fill in a backyard that's 24 feet wide.
Yep.
Because I don't want to. You get very full coverage without having to play that music very loud at all.
Exactly, and I'm not upsetting my neighbors, but I can wander anywhere on the patio with the stereo imaging with reasonable volume levels, and it works great. How many speakers are on your patio, Adam?
I think I've got a total of about 4 of them. I think right now only 2 of them are working, unfortunately. But yeah.
So you really do need to talk to somebody in the industry.
Yeah.
I should talk to somebody, right? So we've got Dale on here. Dale saying, be sure to use an Origin or audio control amplifier with DSP when running outdoor landscape, especially the Bollards. I would agree with that on just about any kind of amplifier, run.
Whether it's inside DSP. Or outside, DSP is is a huge plus.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And Dale, it's good to see you in the chat. Thanks for watching the videos. He's I believe Dale, he's one of our reps, right?
Both of our reps.
I was gonna say he's both of our reps, right? Yeah, Dale.
I will take your word on that.
Yeah, he's down in the Central South, right? He's down in Texas, the Tola region, right?
Oh, speaking on that note, I will be in Texas next week for the Tech Summits.
You will, okay.
With John in Dallas and Houston, I believe.
Okay, good.
So if anybody is watching, please stop by and say, hey, I actually saw you. By the way, did we get the shirts out? Did we get the shirts ordered for the guys from CDA?
I believe we did.
Okay.
Yes.
I think you told me we did.
I believe we did. Yeah. So
we did have a winner.
So we've kind of talked about, laying out the speakers. We've talked about the bass side of it. Now I guess the big part is obviously the amplifiers and the DSPs and everything else, sourcing it. I know we are dealing with it. I know pretty much everybody in the industry is dealing with it. It almost doesn't need to be said, but I assume that you guys are also dealing with it.
Yeah.
Are you referring to the product sourcing or the audio source?
Yeah. Yes.
You mean can you actually ship anything?
The physical sourcing.
Yes.
So it's a prevalent issue around the country. It doesn't matter whether it's our industry or the car industry or essentials down to even paper goods. Sourcing products is a huge issue. And it's something that we've lived with over the last 12 months. And I can pretty much assure you that we're going to live with it over the next 18 months. It's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. And it's to no fault of the manufacturers. It doesn't matter. We've got products on order from last November that still haven't showed up. So, there's lots of different issues that we're dealing with. I think we've all done as much as we can to try and get products to dealers. I thank goodness every day that I do what I do. And, I feel bad for the dealers that actually have to face the end users. And we do what we can to make things a little bit easier. But I can tell you guys that the transportation side of things is difficult. When it's gone up over 300% for us to ship, a container that was minimal cost last year is gone up over 350%. It's really difficult to stomach that, so the manufacturers that have had price increases, the manufacturers that have had shipping issues, we're doing our best to manage it as you guys are to manage the expectations for your customers.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole, if you can get a container to ship it in.
Well, it's all encompassing, right? We own our own factory, so we haven't had issues in actually manufacturing the products. That's not been a problem for us. The problem has been container procurement, trying to get it physically on the water, and then we've had 11 containers sitting outside the port for weeks. So when customers call and they're like, hey, when are we going to get this? I'm like, if I could swim out to the boat and strap that container to my back, I absolutely would. We struggle every day with going, hey, it's supposed to be 3 weeks out, but it ends up being 12 weeks out.
And I have not talked with Adam about this, but I was dealing with some stuff with our West Coast warehouse the other day and discussing this issue with them. And they said, well, we were told to have a driver there on Thursday. They sent him home. We had him there on Friday. They sent him home because they couldn't get to him. He was there yesterday or Monday. They sent him home. We still don't have a load that was scheduled for pickup last Thursday because they can't get it out of where it is onto the truck to get it out of it where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, to give you guys an idea, when we submit a purchase order for manufacturing and the manufacturing part of that is actually complete, it typically is 27 to 28 days from the time it is loaded at our factory to delivery time to our warehouse. That was our average time. Right now, we're pushing 16 to 17 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that side, I mean, you're looking, and that's not even the manufacturing side of it. That's just the logistics of getting the equipment to whoever's buying it. I mean, let alone getting it from one port to the next. It's actually getting it here in the States. It's getting it from the port to wherever it's going. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we've got going on. Leo over here, he's talking about it took him 6 months to get a box from JL to ship a sub back. I mean, Leo, you got to think also with issues like that, the way that JL is going to be working is, they'll take it back, but if they don't have a sub to replace it with, they're still holding on to the box from before. in order to ship it back. So yeah, you're right. They're short on boxes for the way
Now,
that they work.
because Miranda and I have many years between us and got just a few moments to talk at CEDIA because it was a much busier CEDIA than anybody anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
What was your take on CEDIA this year, Ms. Grantham?
It was interesting. There, obviously, the attendance was way down, but we got so much quality time with quality dealers that I am so thankful that we went. Typically CEDIA is crazy. There's lots of people. And honestly, for our industry, as small as our industry is, it's like one big high school reunion, right? You know everyone. You want to see everyone. That's a chance that we get to see a lot of faces that we may only get to see once a year. So someone walks in the booth, you're like, hey, Leo, it's awesome to see you. How have you been? And by the time that gets out of your mouth, someone else is tapping you on the shoulder and you're turned in a different direction. So we get like 45 seconds with people sometimes. It's just, you turn and shake and hug and all
this
that.
This year was Adam's first CEDIA, and he introduced his product line.
Well,
and he had exactly what you just talked about.
Yeah, it was and it was interesting for me. It's a still officially unannounced project that we haven't.
So we're not talking about what it is, just that it was.
It was, but it was for me, anyways. I was trapped in that little conference room from the moment that the doors opened till minutes or 15 minutes to half an hour after the doors closed. I was still there
on the last day, even
on the last day. Yeah, correct. But I will say it's for me, anyways. It's fun coming into a new environment. I mean, I've been doing installations. I've been on in the industry now for almost 7 years. So I'm still one of the still one of the new guys, right? Yeah. And so it was nice going to my first CEDIA and my first Infocom just this last week here in Orlando. So it was great, and I can start seeing that there is definitely the reunion style thing. I mean, I'm coming back and seeing some faces, and it was nice hearing from everybody who watches the show. Stopping by and they would say, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube," and I appreciate that from everyone that's done that. But not to go too far off topic, then, so we can swing back around to it. Are there any other? Well, let's talk about weathering. That's something that was always kind of an interesting thing. So obviously here in Florida, especially here on where I'm close to the coast, salt water and in weather in general is a very real thing that we have to deal with here. What kind of I guess what kind of
hardware
is necessary? Like what do you put your stuff through to make sure that it's ready for it?
So that's a great question. First and foremost, everything that Origin manufactures is IP68 rated.
Nice.
So it's rated for damp and dusty environments and will withstand most environments. Of course, we wouldn't want to put it close to the coast because salt is a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
But everything Origin does is IP68 rated. For coastal type installations, we actually designed an entire speaker product around the yacht industry, boats, and the coastal environments, and that's our Explorer series. It takes our standard product, like our Director series product, and just basically puts an additional coating over the entire speaker. It covers tweeter, woofer, all of the bayonet ring, all of the moving parts and pieces on that speaker, including the speaker grill, with a coating that went through a 9-month torture test for salt, sea spray, continual spray, which equates to like 10 years in real world environment.
Yeah.
Those have been out for over 4 years now, and we've not taken any products back in the Explorer side of things. Now that's twofold. We actually designed that for 2 different industries. We did realize in European countries that their saunas and steam rooms get about 20 degrees hotter than Americans have theirs. So a lot of speakers will start to break down at those temperatures, and the Explorer series will not.
Nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
I don't know that I want to be in a sauna that's 20 degrees hot.
They bake themselves.
I mean that's a lifestyle for them. They have entire words made specifically for doing things in saunas. Not that kind of thing. Let's see. We've also got. There we go. YouTube user. It doesn't tell me who you are, unfortunately. But it says, if salt is an issue, simply we need to wash the speaker often with fresh water. Salt is the worst. It is the worst.
I agree, but tell your customer to do that and see how often they actually do it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Look, this is another opportunity. I am a huge proponent for service contracts. This is a huge opportunity for service contracts. Go ahead and say, yeah, $100 a month, we'll come out, and every 3 months we'll wash off, we'll water down, rinse off, whatever. 3 months may be too long. You probably need to get in there like once a month if you're right on the water. But yeah, something like that. I mean, I think service contracts are great for things like that. It's reoccurring revenue, gets you back in people's homes for good reasons, and it creates those hey, while you're here moments where you can make more opportunity and whatnot.
Before I forget, Miranda, is Origin at the Tech Summits next week?
Yes, I actually will be there. I will be in Texas, and I'll also be in the Florida Tech Summits in December.
Wow. Are any of those near enough us for you to stop by and say hello?
I might be able to swing that. Just to see Jessie, though.
That's perfect.
I am so poorly treated by her.
Leo, that's a good idea, Leo. Leo says, set your sprinkler system to hit the speaker. Maybe don't do it correctly. That's a lot of water. And particularly if you're using reclaimed or non-potable water, yeah, no. Let's see. Jesse saying, actually, this is to answer a question from earlier. The experts were asking, when do we announce the winner from our Show Us Your AV Rack contest? We're in the process of collecting the votes from our teams to select the winner of the Show Us Your AV Rack contest. So I guess stay tuned. I'm not sure how we're going to be announcing the winners. If it's going to be, I'm sure we'll say something here on our live stream for anybody who's watching us here. But I'm sure that we'll be reaching out to them directly through, I believe we're doing it across Instagram. So if your rack's been chosen as a winner, then we'll reach out to you on that.
There have been some impressive applicants.
There have. We actually put quite a few of them on our intro last week as kind of like a preview of what's going on with it. So it is past the 31st. That contest did end on the 31st. So if you are still we still want to see some interesting setups. A clean install and location is always kind of something that I'm interested in. So
I am also curious to see some of your patio installs, just out of curiosity. Not that it's a running contest, but I'd like to see what you're doing. Excuse me, with the Origins and the subwoofers.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to do.
Adam needs to do his house, and I would love to put a sub in mine. Yeah.
So I think with that, let's see. Yeah, Jesse's saying there's some impressive projects in there. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I'll be honest, I skimmed through a lot of the pictures and stuff.
There's a lot of us on the road.
And there is a lot of us on the road right now. And we're not the only team doing it. I'm not going to say exactly who it is that we're working with on this one because it's a direct competitor with Origin. But we'll discuss that on another episode maybe. But with that said, keep an eye out for us. And as soon as we have a winner selected, we'll reach out to them and let everybody know. I guess, go ahead, Brent.
Ms. Grantham, is there anything else you would like to add before Adam goes into his final words?
No, I think this has been a very inclusive interview.
Ooh, there's a wonderful word.
That's a big word. We don't do big words on this show. We get in trouble for big words. I don't do math. I don't do math, and Brent doesn't do big words. So, that's our rules for this here. So, well, I think that kind of covers what we wanted to talk about. As always, it's wonderful having guests on the show, and Miranda, you are definitely one of the top, and we appreciate you for coming on. Of course, everyone, reach out to Origin, see what they have available as far as speaker systems. If you are designing a system, no, you can't get up in my lap right now. If you're designing a speaker system out in a patio, or I assume also even inside, in a setup there, go ahead and reach out to Origin directly. We have somebody asking, where is Jeremy?
Jeremy is off enjoying retired life.
Jeremy's retired. Good for him.
Is he officially retired again, or is he just
he's
semi-retired?
He gets to make all the fun decisions and come up with the crazy ideas, and then he has us to implement them.
it's a good position to be in.
That's right.
It's a very
Well
good
earned.
position to be in. So I guess with that, again, Miranda, thank you so much. How can people reach out to you? Is there a good way for them to contact you or to reach out to your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can always call the office. It's originacoustics.com. My direct email is Miranda, Miranda, at originacoustics.com. I'm always available. You guys can reach out anytime, and we'd be happy to work with you.
Perfect.
Everybody knows mine. I'm Brent.McCall at metroav.com.
And of course, I'm Adam.Rogers at metroav.com. So you can feel free to reach out to me directly as well. And everyone who has been watching this show, thank you so much. And if you are coming in after the fact and you're watching this after it's been recorded, please feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. Like I said at the beginning, if you have something for Miranda or anybody over at the Origin team, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. The experts have a really good question, actually. Weatherproof Connections.
We use silicone wire nuts. Other than that, it is up to you guys to weatherproof your connections. We don't have any inclusive things like Coastal Source does.
Gotcha. So with that, good question.
Which means you can go down to Lowe's or Home Depot and pick up what you need for your waterproof connection.
Yeah, you don't have to wait to order something. You can just go ahead and pick up whatever you need for that. So, and plus those silicone wire nuts, they work really well. I've used those on many a jobs,
including at the beach.
Yes, exactly. So, I guess with that, everybody, thank you for watching. Like I said before, if you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below. We'll make sure it gets over to Miranda and the rest of her team as well. With that, Brent, you're going to be in Texas next week.
I am. Now, next week is our SDI thing, but I think I'm physically going to be in a car driving.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I guess we'll find out.
So that could be interesting how that gets done.
Yeah, definitely. We'll figure it out. We'll come up with some kind of solution in some way. It will also be interesting because I'm actually still under quarantine next week. So
yes, but at least now you have internet.
This is true. I have good internet service now, so we can do this.
Before you had to stand in one corner of your yard by a palm tree.
Yeah, no, that was you. That was you, and that's one of your stories. But that's.
I remember you having to go outside.
I did.
On one of our things.
Yep. So I guess with that, everybody, thank you for checking in. Come back next week where we try and figure out what we're going to do about SDI, and we'll talk more about that. I don't know if we're doing another video this Friday about some kind of product of some kind. We may have to do something. We'll figure something out. But with that, everybody, thank you for checking out today's episode. And of course, Miranda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
It's a pleasure. We would love to have you on another episode at another time. Maybe we'll do something for indoor speakers or something else next time.
Sure.
And it would be great to talk about that. Hopefully, maybe if you're in the area, we could do something in person. We'll figure out something like that. But we'll go from there. So, Brent, sign us off.
I'm Brent.
I'm Adam. That's Miranda.
Reboot early. Reboot often.
Don't cut your wires too short. Call
tech support.
And turn off CEC.
Have a great week.
We'll see y'all next time. Have a good weekend, or have a good rest of your week, and we'll do this again later. Bye, everyone. Thanks.